the idea that somehow people can't otherwise get to vote, I'm sorry, I'm kind of over that. So, Wesley Hunt, Representative Wesley Hunt, he's kind of over that too. And he just went off on this. It's actually really important to hear. I want to play you Representative Hunt saying, like, this is just ridiculous that we have to trip over ourselves to get people registered to vote on the Democrat side. I mean, Lara, credit to you, right, for trying to do that for Republicans, but it's a little nuts, all the hoops that they're jumping through on the left. Watch them.
I'm here to talk about the left's soft bigotry of low expectations. Because it's the Democrat Party, not the Republican Party, that thinks so little of Black America as the people of color that they make the case that being Black in America means we can't obtain a government ID to vote. And that's not only a ridiculous assertion, it's demeaning and it's insulting. When it comes down to it, many of my colleagues on the left like to pretend that we're still living in the 1950s. Well, we're not. I've got some good news for you. It's 2024, and I know what year it is because I've been Black for just over 40 years. And I'm also the son of a retired lieutenant colonel who grew up in the segregated South. You see, my parents grew up in a Jim Crow South in the 50s and 60s in New Orleans, Louisiana. Their next generation, my parents had 3 kids. My sister, brother, and I all went to West Point, all 3 of us. We all served our country in combat. And I sit before you today as a sitting United States congressman in a district in a suburb of Houston, Texas, that's a white majority district, that President Trump would have won by 25 points, and I won by almost 30 points. And that doesn't happen unless we've made some incredible progress in this great nation. Now, my colleagues on the left like to say that common sense voting laws, including requiring a government-issued ID, are racist, discriminatory, and burdensome. Do you know what my father had back in the 40s and 50s before it was even cool? A government-issued ID. And continuing in his footsteps, I too have multiple government-issued IDs, and while that might be shocking to many people in this country, people may ask, how's that happen? It's very simple. It's personal responsibility for all Americans in this country, regardless of what you look like. Sitting with me today is my global entry card, my military ID card, my Texas driver's license, my Texas license to carry, because that's how we roll in Texas, my congressional card, and of course, the good old-fashioned American passport.
Oh my gosh.
What sorcery is this? What am I, the Black Houdini? How was I able to pull off the impossible and attain not 1, not 2, not 3, but 6 government-issued IDs? Personal responsibility in this country. I fought for this country as an Apache helicopter pilot to protect free and fair elections, and having a government-issued ID isn't racist, it's American. You need to have an ID to drive a car, to check into the airport, open a bank account. You need an ID for basically everything to be a responsible adult in this country, except for voting, apparently, according to the left. Black America does not need well-meaning liberals putting their arms around us and telling us how we should go to the polls. In fact, if you look at recent headlines and polls, you will find that Black men specifically in this country are more fired up than ever to participate in the next presidential election. And I think I know why, and I'm really looking forward to these results. For the record, in the 2022 midterms in Georgia, it proved that election integrity and ballot accessibility can be achieved hand in hand. After the 2020 election, Georgia passed a voter election integrity law, and subsequently, the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against the state of Georgia alleging that the Georgia law is discriminatory and aims to restrict citizens from voting. President Biden even called this law, and I quote, Jim Crow 2.0. Really? In my humble opinion, referencing Jim Crow for common sense election integrity laws is offensive to those who actually experienced Jim Crow, like my parents and their parents before them. In fact, the law wasn't discriminatory at all, because in the 2022 midterms, Georgia voters shattered voter turnout records across the state. And despite that record-breaking turnout in Georgia, the DOJ lawsuit is still pending. I suspect.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh. Like he just said it. He said it so well. Unbelievably well put. I love that. You know what? It is American. And by the way, wow, that's a lot of IDs. I still don't have my global entry card. I actually I got to hand it to the State Department because I just got my passport the other day. I mean, I had a passport. It expired. Oh, you got to go through all this work, right? To, like do all the paperwork. And somehow, like the days turned into weeks and they kind of got away from me. So I was probably like 7 weeks without a passport and I was getting kind of nervous about it. And so I went down, I went to the post office, did the whole thing. And I got to say, like, I didn't anticipate this. So thank you, Anthony Blinken. I know I've been really rough on you, our Secretary of State, but thanks for giving me my passport. Now I'm like, woohoo, I can go travel. I don't have global entry yet, though. I've been meaning to and meaning to and meaning to. It means I need to carve out enough time out of my life to go and sit in the airport for a couple hours. Anyway, wow, Wesley Hunt, way to go, buddy. Just fantastic, fantastic stuff.